Alright, greetings and salutations everyone. It's I, El Samus, and wow, it's busy today on the street, isn't it? All that social distancing. Anyway, it's been a little while since I've done an update, and I thought we should probably do that. Especially since my second big-ass battery came today. So, right now we're up to 2 of these Renogy gel batteries. 200 amp hours a piece, giving us 400 amp hours of battery power. I do plan on setting them up as 24 volts for purposes of charging and whatnot, which means I gotta get the 24 to 12 volt converter, which hasn't arrived yet. It's on like Amazon wait shenanigans. But a lot of the other stuff has come, so like I have my 12 volt circuit breaker, a bunch of my fuses have came. Obviously I've still got the wire and the crimping tools and stuff. Like we got some big 10 gauge stuff, and I've got some slightly thinner but still thick stuff that we're going to be doing some wiring up hopefully real soon. But at least 2 more of those bad boys, and they are heavy. They are real heavy. Let's see. I don't know, I guess you can call it a workbench. I've actually been using the pocket hole stuff quite a bit. I don't know if that's in camera or not. There we go. Along with my big tum-tum. But, yeah, I've been using the pocket hole system a lot. It's been a big helper. I also want to hold up this shroud for a second. This is going to be important a little bit later on, so when I say the shroud, the Max Air fan shroud, this is what I'm talking about right here. Let's see. My miter saw bench area, as you can tell, it is basically a very fancy second desk. It's kind of become the catch-all at the moment. My work bucket, which is surprisingly helpful actually. Being able to carry the tools in and out of the bus. We ended up in the local paper last week from the time of this recording, and ever since then I've been making sure I bring all my tools in. I'm a little paranoid. We've got a table saw. It is a Bosch. I really like it. I told the story about how I did a bunch of internet research, and I discovered that I could order this table saw on Amazon for $400. Thank you. Appreciate you. For $400. And I could buy it on Lowe's, or from Lowe's according to their website, for $449. And so I went to go pick it up. And all they had was this one, which is the same model number, but they added like a -C. So it's like a 1400-10-C or something. And that, as far as I can tell, that basically means they added in a big shut-off switch to it. And they wanted to charge $200 more. So I got a hold of the manager and was like, yo, what's up? And was able to get him to come down and honor the website price. So from $600 and some to $450. So I'm pretty pleased about that. Remington parking way too close to the garage again, as usual. But let's walk into the bus here. I added a few pavers. I will probably add a whole lot more, and get rid of that old pallet thing. Oh, let's get a little bit further back, shall we? All right, as we walk into the bus, things are very similar than from the last time I think I did an update. This bench is in, and it hinges open real nice. Underneath storage will probably be similar to this, but not actually this, so that's nice. The refrigerator is now on casters. That's probably a really awkward angle, but basically it gives you the ability to easily slide this thing around. I will have to put some sort of bungee cable in place or something to keep it from rolling around while driving, but it shouldn't be a big deal. I spent the last week 3 days, whatever, since I've gotten the table saw, making some pull-out drawers for the toe kick. There we go, kickstand. The toe kick. They are the maximum size basically that I could fit underneath here. This one is 19 inches by 19 inches, and they are what, 4 inches tall, I think, give or take. My thin spot is showing. Cover that up. This one, on the other hand, is much bigger. It's 30 inches by 19 inches. We may have to add little wheels if I can find some nice little caster wheels or some little wheels to go on the bottom of these. Or I'll have to inset them into the inside of the door and cut little holes, but should not be a big deal. Those are going to be really nice for maybe some pans, maybe some sort of long-term storage stuff, like canned goods, stuff like that. Should work out real nice. And then the other thing I've been doing is I got all these bed slats cut, and I threw some of that plastic, that PVC plywood down, just to kind of make sure that these slats would hold the weight. So far it's worked out real nice. Should be good. Also, our fan is in. The Max Air fan. Now, it's not hooked up, right? There's no power yet. And the reason why is obviously the batteries are still in the garage and not in here. Plus, I'm going to have to snake the power wires. Let's see if I can see. I'm going to have to snake the power wires down because I want them on the inside of this metal. And there should be a support right here. So somewhere between here and here, I'm going to have to sneak some wires. And it's going to be really difficult to do. But I'm hoping I get this panel off. I get some, like a coat hanger or something. I'm hoping I'll be able to force it down through there without having to do anything crazy like rip out all the insulation and try to drill a hole through the support beam. If I have to, I will, but I'd rather not. So let's see. So getting the fan hooked up is going to be a pretty big priority soon. Once the power is running, let me see if I can get us both in the shot at the same time. Yeah, there we go. Once the power is running, I want to get some sort of shroud to cover up all this nasty hole. And then I'll probably put in like old t-shirts or something in the gap to kind of act as a little bit of insulation, because this PVC plywood is outside the bus, and I'd like to have some extra insulation here. And then once we have a real cap on this area, then we'll use that shroud that I talked about before to fit in here and give us access. Meanwhile, the fan, it's okay. I'd like it to be plugged in and working, obviously, because it is starting to get a little warm in the afternoons in here. So being able to suck this hot air out would be pretty awesome. Let's see. Next big projects. Oh, I'd like to get countertops, specifically this one. It's from where this 2x4 is right now up against this cabinet, all the way across to basically the edge of the bench here is like 79 inches. And countertops come in, the biggest butcher block countertop is 80 inches long, so I will minimally have to cut there, and that'll be really nice. So I get that countertop in. Oh, lots of sun glare there, huh? I get that countertop in and in place, and that's going to do a couple things for me. One, that is going to let me figure out how much space I have between here and here that I can try to build a custom shelf that'll hang underneath the bottom of the countertop. So there'll be a shelf, hopefully, or a drawer right here. The other thing it's going to do is will tell me how far over I have to push this trash can so I can build a support beam to help support the trash can right here. And what that'll also do is it'll be the armrest for the couch. So I want the armrest to go here-ish. And this way, all that will be basically designed around the countertop interaction. Because right now I open this door, theoretically it'll hit the top of the countertop, which if it goes all the way across would stop here, which would be not good. So that needs to be fit carefully. The other thing that'll happen once the countertop is in place is this area. This area is one of the areas that I'm actually really struggling with on how to kind of take care of. Once there's a countertop on here and it's supported adequately on both sides of the shelf, then I need to figure out, do we build a counter or a cabinet taking this face and going over, in which case then this cabinet needs to go back to line up with the other cabinet? Or do I build out from this cabinet over, taking the maximum distance available for the wheel well, right? And then build like an extension right here. But then what happens when with the countertop, right? Because the countertop's going to be, I think, 24 inches thick, which is a little over the thickness of the drawer, or of the stock cabinets, which means I'm going to have potentially that much more cabinet or countertop that needs to be covered. So I don't know how to handle that right now. I can look for a wider countertop, but then I have to cut it down from this point on, which has its own challenges. So I'm not 100% sure how to handle that, but I guess we'll figure it out. We've got lots of time, right? The fronts of the counters are oak, so I'll have to get some nice oak. And the company where we bought these cabinets from also have drawers and stuff, so we should be able to buy matching drawers and doors if I just want to build basically a box and then slap a face on it. So hopefully it'll look good. Let's see. Once we have a couple of those things decided, this area, now that I have the table saw, I can build that custom shelving to go right here. And again, we might end up buying more of those drawers or cabinet doors or whatever to fill that space, so I don't have to try to make my own cabinets on my own. I haven't decided. But once those doors are in place, and we have the table saw now, so we can take the finished plywood and basically fill in all the little areas, like underneath here, underneath there. But that was an interesting camera experience. Under the bathtub, right here, we'll be able to take the finished plywood and cut it to fit, and that should look real nice. And then we can start talking about the floors. I'm still personally leaning towards the bamboo flooring, but kind of letting the wife take the lead on what she wants there. But yeah, things are progressing pretty nicely, I think, all things considered. We still got to paint the roof, which is something that needs to probably happen sooner than later as well. Because once it turns into full summer in here, you're basically talking about a giant solar oven heating up. So it's part of the reason I want to get the fan in, and part of the reason I want to get that roof painted. Both of those things will help greatly reduce the temperature in here. A lot of people are concerned, and I get a lot of people asking about insulation in the bus, and stuff like that. And honestly, well, yes, it is important to have insulation, for sure, and the bus comes with some amount of insulation already, and we have insulated extra in places where we can. The real thing, in my opinion, is not as much the insulation as being able to cool this thing off efficiently. And while yes, once it's insulated, you could pump cooled air into it, I'm really hoping that I don't have to put an air conditioner in this thing. Fingers crossed. If I have to put an air conditioner in here, I think that means I have to go up to 6 batteries. And at $400 a piece, $400+ a piece, those batteries are very expensive. And then to also allow for the additional solar panels to charge those batteries are also an additional cost that I don't want to think about. So I'm hoping that I can keep us to 800 amp hours of battery power or less. Of course, we have to add the batteries in 2 to keep a 24-volt system, which means I already need to have another $900 of batteries on the way pretty soon. And they're very heavy. They're 130 pounds a piece, and they'll be somehow wedged underneath there. So I'll have to build a special box for each of those batteries to go in, also to help keep them secure while the bus is moving around. And I really don't want to have to build a box, get it all under control, and then have to expand the box to put 2 more batteries in. I'd rather get it figured out all at once. Let's see. Also on the short list, plumbing. The wife is in the process of picking out fixtures now. Like, probably not literally right now, but here in the next couple of weeks. And once I have those, I'll get back to working on the plumbing. We've already picked the water pump. We've already picked the water container. I need to decide on what kind of water heater. Right now, I am looking at using a propane water heater, mostly because the stove that I really wanted is no longer available. And I'm extremely disappointed about that. I cannot tell you how badly I would like to have that stove in here. It would make life so much easier. But if we can't, then we might end up doing a propane cooktop, in which case then I need to allow for propane plumbing, not just back in the back where I could have one thing for the water heater, but in fact 2 places where I'd have to have propane hooked up. So then that changes everything. So I'm still kind of hoping to find another workaround besides having to wire the whole place up for propane. But if I do, it's not a big deal. I should be able to put propane inside the 2x6s for the bed there. I should be able to wire it up in that. Particularly this front one, this front support. It's all of those supports are made to come out in case I need to do something really big by pulling things in or out of the bus. Which was how we got all the cabinets in. But I'm hoping that I don't have to do that. Crossing my fingers. The only time I expect that I'm going to have to do that again is when I change mattresses. Which right now there's no mattress, but I'm hoping here in the next few months the things will be in a position where we can take some, like a weekend trip or take a little bit of a trip, hopefully to go get help from my family to paint the bus. And if I can get some help to do that, then obviously we'll have to leave. And I'm hoping that we can find like a middle ground to like rough camp in it a little bit. Get the refrigerator wired up, get the fan wired up, get some of the lights powered in. Oh, the lights came. Didn't tell you about that. Some of the lights for above the bed in this top blue board will have USB power as well as a adjustable light for each side of the bed. So we'll be able to charge our phones and whatever other USB devices straight from there, and have light. And all those things are 12-volt devices, so we don't have to worry about any extra power. I've been doing really a job of buying everything 12 volts, because that's the goal, right? Keep everything 12 volt, so we don't have to worry about stepping things up or down. Things that we already know that we will have to step up. Here towards the front of the bus, there'll be some sort of outlet here. That'll be 110 for my computer station. And then somewhere on this bench, either right here or right here, will be a 110 outlet for people to be able to charge their laptops and stuff while they're sitting on the bench here. Also, there might be a 110 in a couple of places along this wall for kitchen appliances and or the projector. So, yeah. All in all, making progress. It's going slow, but we've just started to have our first nice week of weather again. And in what? One weekend of having some nice weather to get out and get some work done. We've got the toe kick drawers in. I'm ready to permanently install the cabinets, basically. I'm ready to basically finish securing the floor all the way. There's a couple of places where the plywood subfloor is a little loose. Like there's one, you can hear it. Right there. So I need to pop in a few more wood to metal screws just to secure it really well. And then we should be ready to put in the floor. So if you have suggestions for the hardwood floor, I'd really appreciate it. I'm kind of leaning towards a laminate or possibly even a real hardwood floor. That would change a couple of things though. Like the refrigerator, that would have to roll on the hardwood floor. So that would get raised a little bit, which would affect the length of the under drawer counter or under countertop drawer, stuff like that. So these little decisions need to be made. Also, you know, we don't have any of the plumbing actually done. That's all just roughed in, really roughed in right now. But yeah, hopefully in the coming weeks, this COVID thing will die down. I'll be able to get my friends out, and we'll be able to start tearing stuff back up again. All right, everybody. Well, there's an update. Let's see. It's what, 4:21. I should have recorded this video yesterday so we could yell 420 together. But yeah, there's my bus. If you have any questions, comments, etc., as they come to you, feel free to hit me up. This needs to get secured once I know exactly where it's going to go. Stuff like that. I will say I'm not very good at scribing things to match the curve of this. So I'm going to try taking out this piece of the wall and try to scribe a little bit better without this piece in the way. Get a nice fit template here, and then I'll work that piece in. That should be the easiest to put in because I can just lay this down and cut it. And trace it on the thing and cut it. This current one that we have right here is close, but it's still pretty far off. If you look at it. So I don't want to be using this nice plywood to get out of there. This nice plywood to keep inching away at it to try to get a nice tight fit. So hopefully I'll be scribing with some cardboard here pretty soon. Alright, well that's it as always. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't enjoy the video, lie and hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Toodles.